There's a French saying, je me sens bien dans ma peau. It means I feel good in my skin. And I find that saying deeply compelling because it's what we want as women, right? We want to feel at ease. We want to feel comfortable. We want to feel at home in our body. And so many of us, unfortunately, don't. Many of us wish we looked different. We wish we looked like somebody in the magazine, or we wish we looked like we did when we were younger. We want our body to be different. We don't feel like really good. We don't feel embodied. We don't feel in our body that in a way that feels powerful. Now that happens for a variety of reasons. It happens because we've gained weight over our lifetime, and so we don't feel as comfortable. It has happened because our sexual boundaries were violated, and it doesn't feel safe in our bodies anymore. Or it can happen because we had a surgery, an injury, an illness. It can happen because we had babies and we stopped feeling like our bodies were our own. That divorce from our body, that disconnection, happens to so many of us. But I believe that all women can step into their bodies in a way that feels embodied, in a way that feels connected, in a way that feels good in your skin. I'm Nina Manelson. I'm a psychology of eating coach, and I help women feel good in their bodies, feel connected, feel empowered and powerful and comfortable and at ease and back at home in their bodies. And today I want to talk to you about the steps that it takes to get there, to get to that place where you feel like, yeah, this is my body, I feel good about it, I'm feeling strong in it, I'm feeling at ease and comfortable. Because it's a powerful, powerful journey of reclaiming ourselves. So let's get started. I want to tell you this journey in 4 parts, and it's a journey. This is not something you just get there, right? And suddenly, ta-da, I feel great. It's not like a crash diet. This is a journey back home. So please travel with me as we make 4 stops along the way so I can tell you how to get to where you want to go. The first step in our journey back home to our body is to figure out where are we? Where have we ended up in this journey so far? Because you can't get anywhere, you can't get on this journey unless you know where you're starting from. So where are you starting from? For many of us, we're starting from war, right? We've declared war somewhere along the line with our bodies. We're deciding to try to make it do something it maybe doesn't want to do, right? Put it on a diet, get really strict with our exercise, really start to control, right? If I control my body, if I have a lot of willpower, if I make things happen, then I'll feel better in my body. It doesn't work that way, right? We can't create a harmonious, positive relationship with our body in a state of war. It doesn't work. It doesn't feel good. We have to, which is step 1. This is your first step in your journey towards stepping into a body that feels good for you, is call a ceasefire. Stop the fighting. Now, I know easier said than done, absolutely. We've got a very busy mind that's judging, but there's practices that will help you create a ceasefire. And one of those practices is self-compassion. Really important to start to talk to ourselves with kindness, right? Start to counter those messages, those negative messages that we're giving ourselves about our body and about not being thin enough, tall enough, whatever enough, and start to be kind. So our first step in this journey, ceasefire and compassion. Now, the tricky thing about creating a ceasefire and starting to talk to ourselves nicely is that our feelings start to come up. All those feelings that we pushed aside when we divorced our body, that we didn't want to feel because there was a lot going on, all those feelings are here for us to see and to be felt. And this is the very important personal work that it takes to move back into your body. Now, here's the thing about all those feelings. They're like a wave. They're like a big wave that comes up. And somewhere along that line, along the line of when we got divorced from our body, we decided that that wave was a little too intense. Maybe it felt a little more like a tidal wave. And that didn't feel comfortable. I'm going to get off of this wave. I'm going to jump off of this wave so that I don't have to feel the whole crest of the wave, because it feels like it might crash down on me, right? It'll be so intense. There'll be so many feelings. It'll feel like too much. But I want to tell you that there is a way to learn how to ride this wave. And it's an important thing to learn because it lets us tolerate being in a body. And that's your second step on this journey. Our second step is learning how to tolerate the amount of sensation, the experience, the real live experience of being in a body, which is full of pleasure and pain and sorrow and happiness. It's full of the whole spectrum of feelings. And we have to have some tools to know how to ride that wave of feeling, how to tolerate the sensation. So how? How do you hang out with sensation? 5 steps. Breathe, relax, feel, watch, and allow. Breathe, relax, feel, watch, and allow. Now this process is taken from Kripalu Yoga. And it's a very powerful, very specific way of managing that wave of experience that's coming up. So we want to breathe, take a breath, and see if we can relax into it, right? Instead of pulling away, we want to lean in, lean towards our experience. And then we just want to be with it, feel it. That's the tolerating the sensation part. That's the really, really important part of this second step. And then watch. Just watch it, get very curious. You don't have to do a thing about it. We sometimes think, oh, if I have a feeling, I've got to fix it. The process here is about watching and allowing. And that takes us to step number 3. In our embodiment process. Step number 3 in our embodiment process is about allowing pleasure, right? If we're in a struggle with our body, if we're at war with our body, we're almost more familiar with the uncomfortableness. We're more familiar with the judging, right? And it's very uncomfortable. We want to step out of it, right? We want to get off of that wave. We want to get into pleasure, right? We're thinking that maybe if I eat that, donut, it'll give me that momentary experience of pleasure because it's uncomfortable right now. But the problem about that donut is that then it doesn't feel so good in our body. It doesn't give us a lot of energy. And often then we judge ourselves for eating the donut. So it actually doesn't get us to more pleasure, it moves us into more pain. Step number 3 that as we walk towards embodiment is allowing pleasure, real pleasure, authentic pleasure, pleasure that lasts longer than it takes to actually eat that donut, right? So how do we allow pleasure? It's a wonderful, wonderful process of getting really tuned in to yourself and curious, because many of us don't know what gives us pleasure. We've been so busy trying so hard or working so hard. So we have to be finely in tuned and ask, is this pleasurable? Do I like this? Does this make me feel good? And the only way we can do that is to slow down. Slow down and be. Slow down, and ask. So the task of this third step, of stepping into pleasure, allowing pleasure, the task is to slow down. Step number 4 is about wisdom, trust, and respect. When we've walked the other 3 steps, when we've stepped into awareness and shifted out of the war relationship with our body, created peace, and then stepped into allowing sensation. And sensation is the way that our body speaks to us. It's the messages of the body. And then we even allow ourselves pleasure. We get to reap the rewards of being in relationship with this amazing, wise body that we have. We get to trust that it knows what we need to eat. We can trust that it knows when we're full and hungry. We can be respectful of our body. And when that happens, we're welcomed home. We are fully living in our body. And it's a very powerful experience because when we can live in our body, we open the door to living fully, to giving fully, because we're at ease with ourselves. We feel good in our own skin. Let's walk through those phases of embodiment one more time. Phase 1 was about awareness, right? Where are we now? And the task in phase 1 was about ceasefire and self-compassion. Phase 2 was about sensation, right? Learning how to tolerate sensation, learning how to be with, feel, stay with it. And the task there was to breathe, relax, feel, watch, and allow, right? So that you could stay on that wave of sensation. Step 3, allow pleasure. And the task there was to slow down and start to ask yourself, what feels good for me? And step 4 was wisdom, trust, and respect. And that's where we do our listening carefully, respecting what our body has to say, and honoring the wisdom that our body is. Now, when we walk through those 4 phases of embodiment, we get to live in a body that we love. We get to live in a body that feels like home. And when we feel at home, when we feel good in our skin, then we bring the gifts, our gifts, out into the world. Then we get to fully express ourselves. Then we get to live to our highest potential. And that is what I want for you.